when you got a bolt that's stuck in its place and you're trying to pull it out, rather than use your finger, you could, if there was a burr on here, it'd tear you up. So take the open end of a wrench and put it on between the head of the bolt and where you're pulling it from, and then use your ratchet, and as you're backing it out, you're putting pressure that way to pull the wrench or to pull the bolt out. So watch. And if your ratchet works, it's very successful. Just like this. Like that. I have not seen that on YouTube yet. But you've seen it here first. Hopefully. Here's something else. On these trucks or off-road stuff, I try not to use nylock nuts. Basically, they have a little nylon insert in the ends. Here's why. If you use this, if you take this bolt on after you've set the threads past that nylock part, they get a thread basically cut into them, and then they lose their effectiveness over time, especially when they're out in the sun. And after about 3 or 4 times, these things don't serve a purpose. They actually will loosen up. So what I recommend is very small example here, so bear with me. This is called a top lock. You can see how the opening is oval shaped. It's called a stover nut or a top lock, and so you can see it's actually part of the cast, or not cast, but part of the shape of the hole in the end. And that's a mechanical locking I guess facet of these nuts. Yes, they do wear out, but these are superior to any other locking nut, especially with nylock. So that's your helpful hint for the day. I'd say pro tip, but I'm not a pro. And also in the off-road industry, you always want to use fine thread. So here's the difference. So you see the thread. Fine thread takes more rotations to remove the nut. So you can see the fine thread versus this. This is a coarse thread, and that you can have fine thread and coarse thread. I believe fine thread's all the same. I could be wrong. But coarse thread does have different pitches available, but hopefully you can see the difference between those threads. They're obviously different size fasteners, but the point is it takes more rotations to take this fastener off with coarse thread as opposed to, with fine thread as opposed to coarse thread. Hopefully that makes sense. Hey guys, back working on the truck still, doing a tear down. This is where we're at. Just backed it in here so I can basically de-energize the whole chassis and make it safe to pull the wiring out of it. And I'm gonna leave the plumbing where it's at. I might change a few things down the line here, but this is mostly about sheet metal and getting it back to looking like a truck. But when it's naked like this, I have the freedom to kind of change little things as I go. But since I've got just about 40 gallons of race fuel in here, not race fuel, it's actually 91 with 2 bottles of VP Madditive in it. So this truck's kind of right on the line of needing race fuel. It's 10.5 to 1 compression. So it really likes to have at least something in the gas, otherwise it'll ping a little bit. So I had it all hopped up, ready to go for our last trip. And as you know how it ended, didn't end so well. But so right now I'm going to use the pump, or pumps, to drain the tank. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So the return is this guy here. So this feeds the throttle body one side. As the pump runs, it's going to come back to here. So I'm going to unhook this line and bring it underneath there and fill the jugs. So not only will it filter the fuel, it'll actually pump by itself, and I don't have to, use any sort of weirdo pump to actually get it out. So the pump should do its thing. So let me get set up and I'll show you how I'm doing it. So I do have to bleed the pressure. So I've got, because I just ran it, I'm going to have a little bit of pressure in here. Grab a rag.
Sounds kind of gnarly.
Is that a Fiesta?
It's either that or a Focus.
Yeah.
It's like literally a 1.7 liter turbo.
Eco deal.
Not even the 2.7. It's smaller.
Yeah, they're fast little cars though, aren't they?
I've heard. I think they're.
Yeah, it's like Evo, Subaru, kind of a competitor, isn't it?
The Mitsubishi Evo.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. They just looks like a shoe. Like I just.
Yeah.
They built.
So this is the way you do it. So this is a Holley Dominator dual pump setup, which is probably the best electric pump I've ever had. I've tried the inverted ones, the black, the blue, I think even the red, and never had much luck with those. But this one's a bad unit, and it has two motors, so there's two pumps in it. So yeah. Got some fuel to pump here. It's gonna take a while. Alright, here's a cone hauler update. So the old truck, we've demoed everything off of it besides the cab. Cab is left, and engine, drivetrain, it's all there, still on the frame. So that's gonna be this week. We're gonna be in between rainstorms, but I wanted to point this out. So this truck is unusual because I widened the bed. So there's normal step side. I can't remember what the dimension is, but basically I added 9 inches to this bed head panel. So this one goes right, the cab's on the other side of this. So, and the reason I did that is because I widened the track width on the front of my truck, and it's 4 over each side. And so basically the center swing points of the I-beams are moved out 4 inches from where they are locally, or I'm sorry, from the factory. So that widened the truck, and then I had to have a rear end made to match that width. And so Cone Industries made me that rear end. So with all that, the truck felt balanced to me, and I'm no engineer, but I played one in real life. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point I'm trying to make is, because that rear end was wider than the stock width, the bed panels had to come out. And this is kind of an anomaly because most guys that race these trucks, they hung fiberglass bed sides on the sides of the truck instead of running a traditional bed like my truck, which is what was really important to me to keep the stock look within reason. I don't want steps hanging too low or anything like that. But anyway, so the bed had to be, out of necessity, widened. So I did that. I bought just two head panels and then 2 rear panels. The bed sides stay the same. Those are in fact gone now. This is the panel headboard. It came off, obviously, and fenders. So fenders are another topic of discussion. I could have widened the fenders, basically put like a 4.5 inch strip in the fender, but that's true talent work, and I'm not sure I'm ready for that. But basically essentially widening, keeping the bed the way it is and widening the fender instead. Obviously you'd have to open up the wheel arch, but eventually, but so I wanted to be able to just slap a stock fender back on it, because the fiberglass guys run fiberglass because it's disposable. It cracks, they hit a bush with it, it's toss it out, get a new one. That's what I'm up against with running steel fenders. I'm like, okay, my life's already hard enough running steel fenders, might as well just make them stock, and you can get these at LMC or any of the repop companies. So kept those stock, but I was about to throw this headboard away, and I'm like, well, yeah, I better keep that just to reference off of it. But I didn't make those inboard jogs, you know, those little ones I had on the back of the fender. If I had one, I'd show it to you. But when the tire comes up and articulates, I actually didn't account for that enough. So I probably could have gone another 1.5 inches in with those little wheel step of the fenders on the inside. So anyway, I think that's it. Got all the sheet metal here. Got to pull the drivetrain out and get this chassis in here and start assessing. I'm not going to go crazy on the chassis. Probably going to just do maintenance on it. But I'm going to put it right here, and we're going to go over it. I want to change some things, obviously. I'll get to that. Actually, I wanted to go into something about that hole right there. So anyway, I'm going to start working on the charger. See you in a few.